It's pretty nice of Gruden to give a shout out to the show. Fortunately, he said the stiff arm with Lamar Miller, but whatever. I'll take it. It's free. It's free advertisement. Can't get more better than free ads than this. Because there's only like 6 people in Miami watching this bullshit right now. Personally, I think the crowd is CGI'd. I think Ross plays a hand in that too. No, majority of them are Dolphin fans who just put their giant shit back up. That's what they did. You have to stop and go to bed. Why? Because you got a fucker in the bathroom?
No. It's because it helps whatever the BPH shit. To avoid long-term injury, get medical help right away.
So going into a bathroom?
Like not being able to take or taking having to go to the bathroom too often.
Oh.
Ask your doctor about Cialis.
Wow. Listen, who cares? You're getting some pussy. Just deal with it. That's what I fucking would say. I've never understood all these teams that they, like the Dolphins do this bullshit all the time, where they line up in a fucking, in a pass set, and it's like 3rd and short, and they let up in a shotgun, and they think they're going to pound it in. What the fucking thinking is behind that? Fucking retarded.
That's why I'm here.
I've always thought that was kind of funny, where it's it's peace on earth, goodwill towards man, and
That's wonderful.
some killing with with a Rolling Stones soundtrack behind it. There you go.
Sorry to interrupt.
My whole world is black. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna slash some throats, bitches. Merry Christmas. Thanks, Mom.
There is no known solution. 37-yard line.
I mean, at this fucking point, I would even say I could be considered a candidate for fucking coach. I mean, there's really nothing else out there to grab. I mean, it's, right now Dan Campbell is what Carl or Charlie would have called the best looking ugly chick in the bar at the moment. So let's just go home with the best looking ugly chick in the bar. Who knows? Might turn out to be a good thing. Welcome to the Stiff Arm. I'm still Ronn, Mexico. Well, what's been happening? Haven't seen much of the show lately. Yeah, Christmas and all that shit comes up. What a pain in the fucking ass that thing is. You know what? I want to say it's nice and this and that. No, it's all a big fucking pain in the ass. It's all a big fucking production every year. It's like fucking Valentine's Day. It's the same bullshit. It's like we're all buying each other's love and affection. You mean a lot to me. I better spend all this fucking money on you and this and that. And it's a pain in the ass, man. It's a fucking fag, man. I'm thinking of becoming Jehovah's Witness. Just for the fact that they don't celebrate holidays. It has nothing to do with firm beliefs in God or anything like that. I'm just going to want to do it just for the sheer satisfaction of just not having to celebrate any holidays or birthdays or any of that shit. But of course, I will always take presents and gifts. That's cool. You can always send me those. So, where have I been? What have I been up to? Why am I leaning on the couch? Or the dresser couch? I mean, it's either or. A homeless person could sleep on that, probably, very comfortably. Maybe at least 2, 3. I don't know. A couple. I don't know. Maybe they're very small. So, where have I been? What have I been doing? I know you're all asking that. You really give a shit, right? Well, old Ron, like I said, been watching football. Hasn't been too much to scream or cheer about. I forgot whatever the last episode I did, whatever team it was. It was, I don't know. I don't remember. It wasn't the Eagles game. But who gives a shit? It's irrelevant at this point now. There isn't nothing to cheer about. My big concern about the Dolphins was I didn't want them to win too much. I mean, you definitely want to see, I want them to do better, but it's almost like winning now. It's just like, what's the point? Because now you're just fucking up your chances at a draft pick, which they've, put themselves, I think, in the 8th position this season to get something. The thing that's just most disappointing about it and just most frustrating with them is the fact that they beat the New England Patriots the last game of the season. And it was a meaningless game. Olivier Vernon, what are you doing? Why do you feel the need? Listen, I love physicality. I want you to knock the shit out of every fucking quarterback that you guys go up against. I like the fact that you guys had a little bit of a streak of like every week we were knocking quarterbacks out. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. I haven't seen shit like this since the fucking 70s, early 80s maybe. You know, this is incredible. But, brother, the fucking hit you put on Vernon, or, I mean, you put on Brady, when you got called for the personal foul. Come on, man. That's a little, there's cameras and shit. Just tone it down, brother. That's all I'm saying. Just hit him legally, but knock the crap out of him. Understand? See Jim Burt versus Joe Montana in the 86 NFC Championship game. That's your point of reference. But they're picking 8th. You know, now they fired Dennis Hickey. All right, so I mean, this is part of the problem, though, because you have these two guys. You have Tannenbaum as the GM, you have Hickey who's the GM, but who's really the GM? Well, I'm this, I'm that. It's just all a fucking pissing contest at this fucking point, you know. So finally, they fired now. So now Hickey's gone. So now we're stuck with Tannenbaum as our fucking general manager, which I'm suspect on because the guy was with the Jets. It's kind of like. Gross. It's like getting a girl that, you know, it's like, you know, dude, every guy's coming her. Make sure you put on 3 rubbers. That's what it feels like getting someone from the Jets to me. And it's just, you know, which sometimes is kind of appealing. Anyway, but now we got this guy Tannenbaum. So now he's in charge. He's buying the groceries, as Parcells would put it. And, problem is, I just don't have confidence in that they're going to buy the right groceries as usual. The other issue is you're looking for a coach, and I have a feeling they want to go after the biggest and fastest, you know, shiniest object, and that's why I was so relieved that the Saints locked up Sean Payton, because I really don't think Sean Payton can do anything for this team. I don't think there's much that can do anything for this team. I don't think there's any sort of mystical being, whether it's from comic books or holy books, that are really gonna fucking, you know, resurrect this franchise. I mean, guys, expect more of the same. You know, this is my wholehearted belief. Expect more of the same. We're gonna have the same roster that's coming back again. The thing I think is the most insulting about all of this is that basically they're interviewing Campbell as a formality. And that's shitty. It's like, why even bother? You know, if you as a format, for what? For what? You know, it's I don't know. I just think that's fucking lousy. It's like, look, we don't want you. Thanks. It's business. If it's just business, then what's the fucking point of letting the guy make a pitch to you for fucking what? You know, he did the best he could with what he had, which was complete. I mean, the pinnacle of dysfunction. I mean, if everyone thought shit was dysfunctional when the whole Incognito and Richie Martin, whatever the fuck his name is, Jonathan Martin, I almost called him Ricky Martinez, whatever it is, Richie Martin. That whole scandal, that was the beginning, baby. That was nothing. They hadn't even finished digging to the surface of just what a clusterfuck the Miami Dolphins are. It's not going to get anything better. The only thing that is decent out of South Florida right now is, well, they just faded away. Well, kind of like everything else. That might be foreshadowing there. It's a big word, kids. Look it up. That could be. I mean, that's the only thing deep, which is incredible. Again, no one knows you've got a hockey team in South Florida, but guess what? Your Panthers, South Florida, are doing well. So there is something to be kind of excited about. But of course, take everything with, the floor is going to come out from under you at some fucking point. So basically what I'm saying about the Dolphins, is to wrap this up, is expect more of the same. And if I said it, fuck you. I didn't remember. Sorry. I had a little much. It's only early enough for this, so don't judge. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's about all I can really say about that. So anyway, just got a flash on the stiff arm bat phone. Our next guest should be coming in, so just in time for playoffs, which are coming up. Which interesting. Kind of, the NFC kind of almost went the way I predicted it. I did not foresee the Redskins. What I'm kicking myself in the ass about is I said Giants, and I went up because this one guy I work with said every 4 years the Giants seem to win the Super Bowl. And I go, it is, and I even thought about that. Even when they won their first 2 Super Bowls, it was 4 years. Super Bowl 21, and they won Super Bowl 25, both by Parcells. Super Bowl 42 with Coughlin, Super Bowl 46 with Coughlin, both against Patriots, and the others were against the Bills and the Broncos. So what I forgot about was that it was 10 years. So that's what I didn't look into. So that's why I got the Giants thing wrong. So I should have known better. I should have read more into it. I should have shook the 8 ball a little more, or read into the cornflakes that look like the Virgin Mary, and foreseen that it'll be Super Bowl 56 before the Giants go back. Now they might lose that, and then it'll be 7 years till they win another one. So that's kind of how the math's going. If that was true, then the whole Dolphin thing would be fucking. We'd figure that shit out by now, because it's been 40-something years. But that's another story. But yeah, Redskins, total surprise. I almost picked the Redskins. I was going to pick the Redskins just because I didn't think. Well, I was like, why not? I go, I really felt Dallas was going to do what they did, was flop Philadelphia. I didn't think. I go, that something another implosion waiting to happen. You heard it here first on this show. The Giants went with that. The Redskins, I was just like, that whole quarterback thing. I was like, that's they're going to be their Achilles heel. Which was another thing I predicted on this show, that drafting Griffin would bite the Redskins in the ass. They gave up way too much. That's like they totally signed a contract with some nefarious being that put some bad karma on them because they haven't been able to do shit. But Cousins, seems to be their diamond in the rough. So how do you like that? Or you like that? Whatever that is. I just figured that was him saying that shit. Sometimes I pay attention to that crap. But so you got that's your East. So East is Redskins. South is the Panthers with hey Atlanta, thank you. I really didn't get the chance to say it, but Atlanta, thank you. New York Giants, thank you. So both you guys, we owe big appreciation to for keeping. What I have, the only thing I have as a fucking Dolphins fan, wholly, is our undefeated season, because that's all we'll ever be. So, thank you guys once again for keeping the ghosts alive. You got the North is the Vikings, which I got wrong. I was right, but I was wrong. I picked the Vikings as a wild card. Now they are a division winner. I picked the Packers to be that division winner. At either rate, I got all the teams except for the Redskins. And in the West, I picked the Cardinals. And I said the Seahawks would be a wild card. Now, I kind of bought into the juggernaut of the Seahawks being, or the propaganda that the Seahawks are going to be the juggernaut. I mean, yeah, they definitely look good, but everybody's beatable. I don't think it's going to be this Sunday. I think they're going to come in there and just kick the shit again at Minnesota. I have a feeling Washington will beat Green Bay. Green Bay just does not look right. They have been struggling. Whom else? Oops. Let's see. Redskins and a couple more. But listen, I finally got notice that he is ready to go, my next guest. So we'll take a quick break, get him online, and we'll be back with some more TSAwRM. What I did is fucking stupid. Alright, that is going.
How's everything else going for you, okay?
Yeah, it's alright.
Just hanging in there?
Hanging in.
How's the missus doing?
She's alright. Christmas was good. Things are slowly, in the, not fair to call it negotiation stage, but, each one of us has put, what issues we got on the table, and now from there you figure out, all right, where do you go from here? So that's where we're at. But other than that, things are good here out in my western retreat, so to speak, where I'm exiled.
Is that right?
Yeah, things are good. I've been out here with Vicky and Mark, since October, so it's been good. I think it's been beneficial for for them and for me, since I've been here.
But how does that feel, though? All right?
Yeah, it's all cool. It's good. So, all right, let's get rolling on this thing, man, before you get your mysterious text. But I'll have to bullshit with you about that another time. Preferably a time where I can fucking see you, physically see you, instead of over a speaker.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine, yeah.
All right. You ready to go?
I'm ready to go, buddy. I'm on your own. Just see what we're doing. Yes, sir.
All right, here, let me set a little clock here. Oops. Go to that. Go to this. All right, here we go, man. 3, 2, 1, and we're back. It was like it was a long break. Well, it was a blink of a fucking eye. Beautiful thing of video. You fuckers never had to learn how to fast forward through shit. It'll spoil little shits. Anyway, I'm still around Mexico, and it's, I don't know, we're not even calling it second quarters or halves. It's just, here's another segment. Just shut the fuck up and enjoy. Smoke your weed, drink your beer, whatever the fuck it is you're doing. Hopefully you're not jerking off during the show, but if you are, I mean, that floats your boat. Cool in the gang. Don't mind. I'm flattered, actually. And it'll be $50 an hour for every hour you're tugging on there. My next guest, as I told you when I was on my other rant about the playoffs, is finally, he's here. We haven't had him in a while, but he is playoff bound. My guests this week are all playoff bound, and playoffs that I'm bringing on. This particular one is a season ticket holder of one of the playoff teams that I was just confessing to, Jeffrey, in the first segment. I almost picked the Redskins to win the NFC East this year. Almost.
Oh wow.
And I'll tell you why. Your quarterback.
I want to hear this.
Your quarterback situation is what scared me. I completely believed Dallas was going to implode this year. I was like, you know what? That's way too much good fortune to fall on one franchise. They're going to fuck it up by letting Murray go and all the other bullshit that happened. Not only that, and the funny thing about Dallas is, for as much as everyone fucking hated Tony Romo, as soon as they got rid of DeMarco Murray, they're all going, "Oh, it's all on Tony Romo. He can do this." No. That's why you guys failed, because he didn't do good. And then the motherfucker comes back, and of course my team just spreads their legs for him, makes him look fucking great and on a pedestal again. And then the next week, the motherfucker gets knocked out. So that was pretty sweet. Philadelphia, I had absolutely no confidence in that up-tempo bullshit, whatever the Uptown Funk, Bruno Mars shit that they were trying to run with their offense. That wasn't going to fucking cut it. You guys, I was like, no one's going to give Washington a snowball's chance in hell of anything. Right. I mean, and why would anyone, considering how last season ended with is it Griffin? Is it Cousins? Is Cousins this good?
If you look at the preseason, and the preseason was a goddamn circus, so everybody was just expecting that to just continue. It was a giant soap opera. I'd never watched a preseason in all my life as a fan, thinking, Christ, I feel like I've been through an entire season, because the preseason had so much drama and so much bullshit. You're like, God, just get it over with. I've never seen that. So who would ever think that having a preseason with all that controversy, that you would ever think this team could spin anything positive? And well, everybody's wrong.
And then your opening day game, you lose on a fucking punt return to my lowly Dolphins.
To your Miami Dolphins.
To my lowly Miami Dolphins. That's all that beat you, was Jarvis Landry making a punt return. That's it. And we.
Mr. Landry, where the fuck were you when you were playing Dallas, Mr. Landry? I always love that. You can beat us, that's fine, but take care of them too. That's what I told my fucking limo driver in Carolina. Listen, you can take us out, but take those bitches out next. Can you believe that motherfucker texted me after they took them out and said, "Happy Thanksgiving, Mr. Jeff." Well, thank you. Because you had told me that before, I'd have given you a bigger tip.
I do have to say, I had picked the Giants to win the East because, again, I went over the
default. That's all. My default.
No, because the Giants seemed to go to the Super Bowl. It felt like every 4 years. But what I failed to realize.
You did say that. That's right.
But you know what? The interesting thing was, when they won their first 2 Super Bowls, it was every 4 years. It was 21, then 25, then 42, then 46. But what I failed to recognize was that it would be 10 years between Super Bowl appearances, and then another 7 before they win. So it's basically 17 years for Super Bowl wins for the Giants. That's what I got. It was math, Jeffrey. You know my weakness is math. That fucked me up, man. It's like algebra. So now your fucking Bravo, your brother Mikey would have picked that up. That's gonna be his new name is Bravo. Let's start calling him fucking B as in Bravo.
He is in Bravo.
Not the television network. So I picked that. I picked the Packers to win the North and the Vikings as a wild card. That got flip-flopped.
Yeah.
I picked Carolina. That was default. I didn't think Carolina would do what they did, but I was like, well, they won it last year. I guess they'll win it this year because that whole division was suspect.
Yeah, it's pathetic. They stepped on their own dick the week before last, and they could be 16-0 right now.
You know what? I'm glad they stepped on their dicks. I'm very glad. I hope it says Nike on all their cocks. Fuck.
I'm sure you did. I mean, they were dapping when they stepped on their own dick.
I wasn't doing shit. I got fucking drunk. That's what I did. Fuck them. And then the West, I picked the Cardinals, and the Cardinals, I'm pushing my chips to the middle of the table towards those guys. I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. I just get some sort of vibe off of them. Now, this is what I think about the weekend, and I was starting to talk about this, and I don't know if I finished it or not.
All right, let's hear it. I got to hear Ron Mexico with 2 ends. Breakdown of this weekend, wild card weekend, which I must say it's extremely. I've always loved the NFL playoffs, but I tell you what, it just feels a little bit bigger with me when I'm in it. I gotta be honest.
Yeah,
I haven't thought about anything all week. I've had lots of things going on, and my brain has been focused on one thing and one thing only. And I haven't even slept yet today.
Get the fuck out of here, you!
I haven't.
Get out of here.
I've been watching and listening, and they had Friday morning quarterback, and all the breakdowns, and and then I went running before after work, and I still washing clothes. I got so much shit trying to go on here. But go ahead. Yeah, I'm very excited about the Washington Redskins.
That's how excited you are about Washington is you're washing fucking clothes.
Show today, Ron Mexico. I will.
You are washing clothes. Do you see the correlation there? Washing clothes for Washington. I smell a gimmick. I smell a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And it probably needs to be washed.
Yeah, there's a couple of them in there that might have that logo on them. Just a couple.
So
the headband too.
I feel like you guys will beat Green Bay. And the main reason...
I'm glad you think that, because I feel the exact same way.
Because of your running game. That's what I've noticed about the little bit I've seen of Redskin games, is you guys can run the fucking ball. And that's a big piece you need in the playoffs, is to be able to run the ball and bleed the clock.
The only problem is we haven't been doing that in the last 6 games. So
that's the problem. I haven't seen the last 6 games. So, all right, so
we've been airing it out lately. That's what we're
why?
Doing. We're not getting conservative. We're actually unleashing and letting him do his thing.
Why have they let Kirk been whipping out his dick and fucking every woman in the planet now? Why are they turning him loose on that? Are they? Do you feel the Redskins were deliberately doing that to play it close to the vest in the playoffs because they got some shit planned up, or what?
Well, if you watch the mic'd up version of Inside the NFL 2 weeks ago when we played Buffalo, Ron Mexico with 2 ends, favorite team in the NFL, the Buffalo Bills.
Oh yeah.
That was an extremely great game to be at, because I've never seen that team play so well together. And he was mic'd up on the sidelines, and he went out to a 21-point lead, and he told his offensive coordinator, Sean McVay, when you put the pressure on me, it seems like we do a lot better. Let's put the pedal to the metal. Let's not get conservative. Put the pressure on me. I know I was I was new to this at first, but you got to trust me. And the offensive coordinator says, and I quote, "I'm learning, Kirk. I'm learning." So, I mean, they didn't have a lot of confidence in him, but I'm going to tell you something. I got to get to a TV set before the kickoff, because if you look at Kirk Cousins' face, he's got the eye of the tiger, man. That guy is so focused, and he is so ready, and he is so confident.
Does he have...
4 weeks into the season, he looks like a fucking lost trying to find his dog in a goddamn neighborhood the size of fucking Texas. He just was lost.
Does he have the Katy Perry Eye of the Tiger?
And everybody on that team loves it. Did you hear what he did this week about rocking out the starter jacket there?
I saw that. I like that.
Yeah, you like that?
I like that. I liked it.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, I liked it.
Combination of it. Ron Mexico with 2 N's. Just imagine a computer terminal like my brother Mike, and he knows that much about quarterback, and then out of nowhere he just snaps like me and flips out one day, and you're like, who the fuck is this guy? And then he goes back to being the way he is. He just snapped that day, and ever since that day, that team has turned from a team to a family. I have to tell you this before I go off on some crazy spiel about something.
No.
You have to understand the idea of 3 years ago, which I had to remind about 60,000 people this week. It's going to be a while. It's been a while since y'all been in their playoffs. That's been 3 years ago. Well, it's been a lot longer than that. It was 3 years ago. Or it's been a lot longer than 3 fucking years
Everyone
ago.
in Dallas sounds like an old
30
prospect.
or 33. 3 years. However, 3 years ago, Ron Mexico went 2 N's.
2.
And I capitalized them both.
That's right.
The entire stadium at FedEx Field was
A cooker.
or a disbelief, and you couldn't go anywhere without hearing 80-some thousand people screaming, RG3, RG3, RG3.
You sure it wasn't
The
RFK?
white quarterback that's sitting on the sideline, who's been his backup a few times, who was really disrespectful.
Fuck yeah, I'm going to hit it. Hey, so that was the beauty of being a dumbass and not charging a fucking battery on your camera. So, as they say in Jamaica, no problem. We'll just switch shit around. So, Jeffrey, please.
Yes.
Jeffrey, please, continue your rant.
Yeah, well, what I was basically saying is 3 years ago, when you're in a stadium with 85,000 people and you got everyone screaming, give or take a few thousand because they move seats around, you got thousands and thousands of people screaming after Robert Griffin III walked off the field limping when he hurt his leg. RG3, RG3, RG3. And you think that the whole city is owned by this guy, and there's this lonely white dude named Kirk Cousins, which I said in my last little statement. I never liked him. He was just somebody that Shanahan drafted because he was trying to make a statement.
On another radio show that has long since passed on, you did say the key word about him was he is a car that does not have a stick shift. He is not clutch. Is what you said about
he's not
Kirk
clutch,
Cousins.
and there's me on the radio saying he's not clutch. I said he's not clutch because at the time he hadn't beaten anybody in the division.
Right.
He hadn't shown signs of anything at all, but interceptions. That's all he did. However, he never really got a chance. If you want to be technically fair, you draft the number 2 pick in the nation of Robert Griffin III, and you're going to bring some guy that's left over in the 4th round. You know as well as anybody, Ron Mexico with 2 N's, and they are capitals. You do know that you pick value when it comes to the later rounds. You don't necessarily pick a position. If there's a valuable spot there that you already have, you pick him because you can always trade him for something else. Well, Cousins was just hanging around. Well, Shanahan made the pick. Now, nobody thought it was going to be anything about it because Griffin was the fucking future, supposedly. However, I didn't think at the end of that year, and so many people got this wrong. Boy, it's just a shame what the Redskins did to Robert Griffin, trying to make him into what he's not. That's such bullshit. Robert Griffin is a spread option quarterback. He is not a pocket passer. You drafted a non-pocket passer.
Right.
You drafted that. That's what you drafted. That's what you got. And all of a sudden, in the off-season, he decides 2 weeks after his surgery to go marching into Dan Snyder's office with a fucking notebook and 16 pages out of the playbook with his agent and his mom and dad and says, we're not running these plays anymore. I'm not doing this anymore. I am going to be a pocket passer. And the way it was described was, Mike Shanahan was like, this is going to take a while. I'm going to be a pocket passer. I'm going to be like Peyton, and I'm going to be like Tom, and I'm going to be like the guy down in New Orleans. I'm going to be like the Breeze. And everyone's like, oh, okay, well. And then they're like, well, he's got to recover from this surgery. And then Griffin comes out and says, I'm all in for week 1. Shanahan didn't know that. No, I don't like Judas. Okay, we're on Mexico with 2 N's in their capitals. I don't like him. But in his defense, when all that shit happened with Griffin, I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but Shanahan did not handle that playoff game properly.
Playoffs?
They keep going back to that. He never handled it right. Griffin wasn't ready, had hurt himself. He should have been a coach. He should have been a parent, and he should have taken him out of the fucking game when the game was still winnable. But he didn't. He let him sit in there and basically just fall apart. Everybody saw it was the eye test, and Shanahan didn't take fucking blame for it. Oh, Robert wouldn't come out of this game. That's like saying to your kid, God, I tried to get that razor blade away from me. He just wouldn't give it to me. I tried to get those keys away from my son. He just wouldn't give it to me. Your son's 5, okay? He's an athlete. You're a coach. You're in charge of everybody. You're in charge. Show you got some nuts back and take the fucking guy's helmet and say you're not playing anymore. You're going to hurt his feelings? Too fucking bad. Because then, when he doesn't pull him out, 2 weeks after the fact, you got Robert Griffin's dad, who, let me remind you, is a military man. His mom is a military man. They're great parents. But who in their right mind breaks the chain of command and just decides to, I'm going to the Washington Post. I don't like what's going on with my son. They should have pulled my son out that game. They pulled him out that game. That's what they should have done. He was hurt. Really?
Wait.
What happens if they pulled your son out of that game when they're up 14-0 and Kirk Cousins comes in and makes 2 big mistakes and throws 2 picks and we lose? Your same dad's going to go to the fucking Post and say, man, my son should have stayed in that game. Well, he could have been hop along, motherfucker. He could have still won that game. I mean, you can't win. But the point is the coach made the wrong choice. So after Griffin decided, I'm not going to play run these plays, I'm all in for week 1. Shanahan sat him out for preseason. He didn't play a goddamn game.
I'm getting bored with
Operation Patience. Everyone sees Kirk Cousins in the preseason. Boy, this guy looks real good. Then they throw Robert in the regular season of the 2013 season. He was awful. Awful. He wasn't really. He was awful. Just terrible. And it all went on and all went on, and it's kind of funny when you look at a guy, and I'm trying to explain this to you so you can kind of see the progression. He came out of college his first year and was a lightning rod, but he got hurt. But he's a spread option quarterback. He would take one read. If it wasn't open, he'd run. Run. He'd take one read and he'd run. He didn't sit back and read defenses in the pocket, but you didn't draft that. It's like drafting a fucking sprinter and then all of a sudden telling him he's going to be a long-distance runner.
Right, exactly.
Or he's going to tell you, I'm not going to be a sprinter anymore. I'm going to be wait a minute, we drafted you to sprint for. Now, I'm going to be a long-distance runner. You've never done that your whole career. Well, today I am. I've been a drummer in the band for 25 years since high school. Today I'm going to sing. And no one's ever heard the fucker sing before. He's telling you he's going to sing. I mean, what the fuck is he supposed to do? So, of course, they go along with this mess, and everybody in the right mind sees that Robert Griffin III is not a pocket passer. And in 2013, when he played against Peyton Manning, he was going to show Peyton Manning, even with this fucking knee brace that looked like the side of a car on his arm, on his leg, saying, oh, I'm going to show it. He was awful. He got sacked so much he was just lost. And the point is he's doing something he just cannot do. And you could tell by that year when the team didn't nominate him as a captain. That tells you a lot. And it could tell you a lot, too, when at the end of a game, he falls down on the ground in a Philadelphia game when he throws a pick six at the end. And nobody helps him up but the defensive lineman for the Philadelphia Eagles. Everybody else is running to the sidelines. I mean, it just tells you stuff. So then, when he was pulled last year, because now we're on 2014, he comes out. He's supposed to be the starter again because he was pulled when Shanahan was going to save him. And last year, 2014 of Gruden's first year, he hurts his ankle, week number 2. And he comes out. And then Kirk goes in. And let me remind you, Kirk Cousins, I'm trying to give you guys a history lesson here of Kirk Cousins, of what the deal is with this guy. And I have to tell you, I am humbled and amazed and very impressed because this guy overcame a lot. Remember, all you heard was, RG3, RG3. Anytime anybody else would come in, RG3. Everybody wants to say RG3, RG3. Black, white, Hispanic, Japanese, Chinaman, upside-down Chinaman. What's the difference? All of them yelling the same thing because there's all kinds of culture in D.C. So
yeah, Chinaman. There's a lot of culture in D.C.
Huh?
None, presume.
Did you hear what I said?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Okay, so here's the deal. You basically have Kirk Cousins come in for 5 games, and everyone's going, okay, this is exactly what Jay Gruden wanted. Jay Gruden wanted this to happen because this is his quarterback. He never liked Robert Griffin, just like
wrong.
Mike Shanahan never liked Robert Griffin. That's why he got Kirk Cousins, and he's been hearing that Kirk Cousins has got the best upside, but you got to give him a chance. Well, Kirk Cousins came in, and he was awful. He beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, and everyone's ready to fucking jerk their dick off and saying he's going to be the best quarterback since sliced bread. And it's like, okay, he beat Jacksonville, and then he just turns into this interception machine. And let me tell you, he gets pulled in a game against the Tennessee Titans. In goes Colt McCoy, wins the game. Then he goes to Dallas, and he wins that game. Well, there's Robert Griffin on the sideline saying, wait a minute, I can't have this. Everyone's rooting for Colt McCoy. I'm ready to play Minnesota. He shouldn't have come back. He fucked up my Dallas week. Mr. Ron Mexico with 2 N's. He wrecked my ice cream cake last year. He came back too soon. We lost to Minnesota, lost to the 49ers, lost to the Eagles. Then finally, what did they do? Oh, you know what? We're going to put Colts back in when we go to Indianapolis. Then he plays okay, and then he gets hurt in the Giants game, and then Griffin comes back in, and the whole time all this is going on, it's Kirk, it's Colt, you hear Gruden. Well, we're going to start off with Robert, and then we're going to go to Kirk, and then we're going to go to Colt, and then we're going to go back to Robert, and back to Kirk, Colt, Colt. Well, Kirk's on the bench now, but now it's Robert. Robert's going to end the season. And the whole time, Kirk was inactive because he was just performance. Colt got hurt, and Robert got hurt. So all that was remembered. And in the year before, the 3 games that he came in, Kirk Cousins lost all 3 games at the end of the season when Shanahan was trying to salvage his quarterback's knee after he put him through a snowstorm of fucking games. I mean, he's just a piece of shit. And the one game that Kirk Cousins did play in the 2012 season, when he went in and he beat the ground, you'd think...
We're only in 2012?
All these people... I'm sorry?
Nothing. Go ahead.
You would think in 2012, when Griffin did get that knee injury, that, he would have praised Kirk Cousins. No, it's almost like he was threatened because Kirk did so well in that one game. And Kirk came out and said, this is Robert's team. I'm just here for this. He was very humbled. It was Robert's team. It's Robert's and Robert. I'm the quarterback of this team. I should have been out there. I will be out there next week. Blah, 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 blah. With his knee brace, it looked like the side of a car. So, here we are. Here we are, the whole last year, okay? Everyone's saying, okay, what's the deal? So I'm at training camp this year, right? And everything's Robert Griffin. RG3. It took me forever to meet this fucking guy. I used to stay up late at night to meet this guy, Finally meet the guy, okay? I meet him. Everybody in the world's thinking that he's the starter, okay? He's the starter.
No, the jacket Kirk was wearing was a starter.
Kirk Cousins and Colt McCoy, they're both there. I blew off Kirk Cousins. He signed a book, and and I met Colt and thanked him for what he did to the Cowboys. I'll remember it forever. I get home a week later. It's announced. Well, before it's announced, Robert Griffin pretty much just threw up all over himself, coming out with the video that when they asked him, did he think he was the best quarterback on the team? He said he doesn't feel he has to prove anything. I'm the best quarterback on this team. Hell, I'm the best quarterback in this league. And you know what?
Wow!
Ron Mexico,
that's balls.
It's over.
It's over. It's over, Johnny.
Did you hear what I said?
I heard it.
It was over. Over. Absolutely fucking over.
It's finished.
He threw up all over himself on TV. Into a season game. Gets a concussion. Then he comes out, and then the doctor's saying, well, he could play, he couldn't play. Cousins comes in and has this unbelievable fucking game. Incredible game. In a preseason game. And, well, he's under concussion protocol, and he's the starter. Well, somehow, some way, Scott McGluen got together with Jay Gruden, and they went to upper management, and they said, we can't win with this guy. We cannot win with this guy.
Can't.
Press conference is announced 1 week before the season. Guys, that's news. Kirk Cousins as a starting quarterback at the beginning of this season.
Muzzle.
So is it just temporary, or is this is Kirk's team? This is Kirk's team. We'll see how far we can go with this. It's Kirk's team. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
WTF?
I mean, what just happened? What just happened? Are you kidding me?
WJH.
Anonymous sources from the Redskins locker room. Guess what they stated?
What did they say?
What? Now we can start winning around here. So I say to myself, what the fuck just happened? Am I happy about it? I hate it. I like Robert Griffin. But I start to see that Robert Griffin isn't a very good teammate. He throws people under the bus. they say his name isn't RG3, it's RGIII. So Cousins comes in and he plays average in that one game. The fans are just, there were a lot of upset Redskin fans at that first game. I think about 50% of them sold them on NFL Ticket Exchange because it seemed like I was in South Florida. There were so many fucking Miami fans there.
Really?
They were pissed off because parents were buying tickets for their kids to see Robert Griffin III play. He ain't playing. He's not even active. Doesn't even have a fucking shoulder pad or a helmet. He's just there. Just there.
Just hanging out.
And I mean, huh?
Just hanging out. Just chilling.
What do you think about that?
I like that. I like that he's on the bench.
Do you like that?
I like that.
You like that? I'm going to tell you what I like. He comes back the next week and he beats the Rams. And everyone's like, oh, hey. And I'm like,
Shit
no, I'm not jumping on this bandwagon.
The shit
I'm not jumping on this shit. Nope. He keeps fucking up, and that was the plan. He's basically going to ride this guy out, and if he dies, he's going to go down with him.
Big shit.
So he beats the Rams.
Think of it.
Then on Thursday Night Football, we go to the Giants, and once again, Kirk Cousins swallows his own fucking dick right on national TV because we're playing a division game.
Wow.
He cannot beat a division game. And yes, I was very critical of him. I'm like, he can't fucking win a division game. He can't. He can't do it. He cannot do it.
Cannot.
And I think he's not clutch. Just like you just said, Ronn, next to go with two N's and they are capital. He is not clutch. Well, my mom and I go to the game at the Eagles on October, what would that have been? That would have been October the 4th for breast cancer awareness. And we're losing with like a minute and a half to go, and somehow, some way,
someone flashed some
goes down the
titties
field in 1 minute and scores a touchdown with 13, 15 seconds left. Throws a touchdown pass to Pierre Garcon, and we beat the Eagles.
That's right.
Then I go to the Falcons game, and everyone says the Falcons were 5-0. The Falcons are 5-0. We can't beat the Falcons. I'm like, we can hang with the Falcons. He hangs with the Falcons the whole game. We get to overtime. He does this unbelievable comeback, and right before with 15 seconds left, puts us in position to kick a field goal, ties the game, goes to overtime. We go to overtime. Our receiver falls down, and Cousins throws a pick six. Everybody in Atlanta is going, same old Cousins, same old Cousins. So you can't.
They're all going to the varsity.
You just can't.
They're all going to the varsity.
And then he goes to the Jets and he gets annihilated by the fucking Revis and all those motherfuckers. And basically, my older brother and I are at the Tampa Bay Buccaneer game, and I hate the Buccaneers a week later, and we're down 24-0 in the middle of the second quarter, and I mean, it is fucking awful. Awful. And I said, if we got to tank it, fine, tank it. That means Cousins is gone, Gruden is gone, fuck him. Maybe RG3 gets another crack at this. And this is exactly what I was feeling and a lot of other people were feeling. Now, not everybody, but I'm just telling you, we look like shit. And out of nowhere, because
of that yellow,
comes back from a 24-point deficit.
It does. It looks like poop.
And he wins that game 31-30.
You like that?
Walking by the Washington Post guy, and he said, "You like that? You like that?
Yes!
You like that?
I like it!
You like that?" And
I
I'm
fucking like it!
What the fuck was that? All over the radio, and I don't know if he woke up or what. But after that Buccaneers game, we went on a bye week, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's just." I said, "He came back. That was the greatest comeback in Redskins history
ever."
And I'm like,
"Ever?
This is impossible. This is impossible." Then we go and we played the Patriots after the bye week. I expected an
come on.
And we did, without Luke, which is fine. Then we go to the Saints game, and he comes out there like, wow.
I'd be a Lions fan.
Boom, wins the Saints game at home. Then we go play the Panthers. Now, let me remind you, after that game, we lost to the New England Patriots and the Carolina Panthers. Two very, very, very good teams that are playoffs right now. Then he goes and he absolutely played an incredible game against the New York Giants. Phenomenal game against the Giants. Clutch as fuck. Beat another division game. I couldn't believe it. Had to give him credit. Then we throw up all over ourselves on Monday Night Football against Dallas Cowboys on a very conservative game because Coach Gruden didn't want to fucking take the handcuffs off and he wanted to play conservative. And I was pissed at him. I really was. But
I was too.
The story was, hey, the Redskins beat the Giants. That was the big game that we had to win.
I didn't sex with them for a week.
Cowboys, everyone's like, this is pretty much over.
That shit would be.
They can't win on the road. They won one game on the road. Gruden's in a coach, and that was last year in Dallas. Cousins can't win on the road. Well, we go into a game, we play the Bears, we win in overtime. We didn't go to overtime because Robbie on Fool's Gold, missed a field goal. We beat the Bears.
Fool's gold.
Then,
You heard it here.
Then we beat the Bills at home. And all these things are going to happen in the division. Giants lose, Cowboys lose again.
Like that!
I keep saying again because they can't lose enough. The Eagles lose.
I like that.
Then we get this thing where it all turns out that the Redskins win on a Saturday night football game on the day after Christmas. We wins the NFC East, and Cousins goes in there and he lights it up. However, at halftime, he almost fucking shit all over himself again. We had 6 seconds to go, and he took a knee. We didn't have timeout or nothing. And for some reason, somehow, some way, that team rallied around him, and nobody even knows the story about that because he comes out in the second half and lights it up again. And ever since then, they ain't looked back, man. He beat the Eagles, and then he went in there and he played the Cowboys last week. Threw 3 touchdowns in the first quarter. It looked like he was taking candy from a baby. And all this started from the you like that from there. And you know what now? Now when you're in the stadium, you don't hear RG3. All you hear is, you like that, you like that, you like that. And I said to myself,
It sounds like a porn.
This white guy overcame an obstacle of Superman, who basically owned that town. And there is no Robert Griffin III talk anymore. They're waiting for him to get out of there because all he is, he's been an inactive player who's taken up $6.2 million. He's making $6.2 million this year. He hasn't played one game. He's worn a sweatsuit in about 95% of the ball games. I think he had a uniform once. Kirk Cousins is making $675,000 this year.
Well, he definitely looks like a hip hop artist. Hey, when you have if you're intimate with women when you have sex with them, do you yell "you like that" during the act? Now, are you that hardcore Redskin?
No, they just smile, and I'm like, you gotta like that. Like what Kirk would say, you gotta like that.
All right,
I can't
listen.
use his line. The thing I'm trying to say is this man overcame something that I'm telling you, Ron,
Like that, he overcame.
And they'll both capitalize. It's almost impossible to admit because now I'm going to go to this game this weekend, and they have you like that towels they're handing out before the game.
I better fucking see one on my phone.
He bought a starter jacket on eBay this week, a nostalgic, old-school starter jacket that looks like it came from the 80s to do his press conference because he said the fans need something to cheer for. I can't believe that this took off. He got off the plane and off the bus, got into Redskins Park. They're shaking his car, screaming, you like that, you like that, you like that. And you look over at Robert Griffin on the bench, and he's sucking down sunflower seeds. And you say to yourself, how did this happen? Well, obviously, these guys love playing for him. Well, Mexico. I mean, they love to play for this guy. And when he talks about things, he gives praise to all of his fucking receivers, the line, the coaching staff, the play calling. There's nothing about him. And I said to myself, Who wouldn't want to play for a guy like that?
I like that.
I mean, and I can guarantee you, I don't bet much, but if they sign him to this contract, which I'm sure they probably will, there is no question in my mind that he will not have a C on his fucking uniform coming next year. It's almost a
Coxman.
given.
So
I'm telling you, Robert Griffin stands around and you say, how did you let something like that happen? How? How did you let that happen? And then he's not allowed to speak to the press. They're not allowed to talk to him. He's forbidden to talk to the press. And somehow 2 people showed up at the Dallas game with RG3 Dallas jerseys on to meet him. And Jerry Jones said, well, I don't want to do any tampering or nothing, but I do know that I wouldn't mind risk for reward. And if that means somebody like an RG3 or a Johnny Manziel, well, I'm all for it. And then they stated that Robert Griffin said, if the Redskins cut me, Dallas would be my first choice. What are you doing?
And that was the question I've been trying to get out.
Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, you say to yourself, okay, this team, and Robert Griffin, obviously, he got the wrong cue card, and he read the wrong book, because this team absolutely loves Kirk Cousins. And it isn't just because he's kissing that. He had to overcome passing up a number 2 pick in the draft, picked in the 4th round, who was just sitting around, and he didn't get my respect. And people are like, well, you didn't have to sell me on him. I don't have to sell anybody on him. Just look at him. Look what he's doing. Look how he's playing. Look at the response. Look at the way people react. Look at his fucking press conferences. He's never said and put anybody under the bus, and that team really plays for him. They play for him. And Robert couldn't do that because he was too busy worrying about Robert and his fucking brand RG3. And you know what? If Cousins keeps doing it, which you like that, I mean, I can't believe how this has completely made this team a team. They've absolutely just embraced this. You like that?
I like it!
It's unbelievable. It's absolutely fucking unbelievable.
I like that!
Unbelievable.
That, I like that, is almost, it's like right, it's just a shade below playoffs. Playoffs?
I mean,
those are my
if
favorites.
you go back and look at that, he was pissed. He was really pissed.
That was great.
Reporter.
I wanted to
And
punch
he said
somebody.
later, I was really passionate that day. Yeah, because that guy told him he couldn't play. He came back from a 30-point down, 20.
That was directed towards you.
He did that.
He heard
And I mean,
you.
Ever
Listen,
since then, Ron Mexico, this team has just, I mean, they've gotten better and better. Now, they got problems in the secondary. That's what I worry about with this Aaron Rodgers bullshit. But you know what? Just take a look at his eyes. He looks so confident. He's making throws. He's making throws and making throws. And
Making
boy,
throws.
Jordan Reed, the tight end, the line's blocking for him. I mean, guys are getting open, and Deshaun Jackson can get over the top and stretch the field. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I think the Redskins are going to win this game.
as long as Deshaun, listen, as long as Deshaun Jackson,
dumbass mistake that's going to fuck it all up because
fuck it all up.
this team is playing very, very, very hard and very focused. And I'm proud of him, man. I am. I really am. And if Robert Griffin wants to be the way he is, you know what? Fine. Fuck it. They're going to cut him eventually, but just shut your mouth. Somebody needs to get an RG3 muzzle and give it to him. And I really like him. I do. But I don't know what else to say other than it's probably killing him to see teammates respond how they're responding to him. And all it is because of performance and the way he treats people on the field. On the field, off the field, in the locker room. I mean, they do. They play for him. And they didn't play for Robert like this. They just didn't. You ever see the movie Any Given Sunday? I'm sure you have.
I have. Yes.
Okay? Well, he's fucking Cap, and RG3 is Willie Steeman Beeman, and he just doesn't get it. He just doesn't get it. And, he's going to go to Dallas, and it's going to be fine. He's going to go. Well, that's fine if he can stay healthy. I mean, Kirk Cousins doesn't have the athletic skills that Robert Griffin has. He doesn't have that. But Kirk Cousins is very smart. He's very smart. And the first thing Robert Griffin needs to do is he needs to go find a baseball diamond if he's going to play the way he's playing. Because I'm telling you, he can't sing. So he's going to have to play that spread option play. And when he decides to run the football, you run out of bounds and you slide. You just slide, Robert.
Slide.
No. I mean, when you see a preseason game 2 years ago, he's going to show everybody after his Operation Patient T-shirt he bought to show everybody how patient he is. He's going to run out of bounds against the Cleveland Browns, and instead he takes 3 hits from 3 linebackers, and everybody's like, what the fuck are you doing in a preseason game? I'm showing everybody how tough I am. He doesn't show anybody nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. I like that.
I just don't understand how he can't figure that out. But when you put him in a situation to be a pocket passer, to grasp the offense, man, you don't get it. He just doesn't get it. I don't know why everybody can see that, but he can't.
Because he likes it.
I just don't get it.
I like it like that.
Trying to do when they draft
him, baby.
But that's what he is. And any team that picks him up, he's not a pocket passer. He's just not. How many of these fucking great amazing athletes come out of Ohio State? African American quarterbacks come out of Ohio State.
Like
They're these amazing athletes.
Hey.
What do they do in the NFL?
Hey. What do they do?
What do they do?
I don't know.
Like the brothers say, pass. They go nowhere. They go nowhere. And I mean, that's not saying anything bad. And you can say whatever you want. You can put the best athlete in high school at quarterback and the best athlete in college at quarterback. But when you get to the pro level, you got to have a guy who's going to be in there, who can read defenses, who can go through his progressions, who can understand what's coming, know the protection, know what's coming, read the blitzes, know when it's. I mean, And I don't think Robert Griffin has the capability of doing
Because
that.
he can't read. He's Dexter Manley.
He's not an unbelievable athlete, but I just know he's done this his whole career. Now all of a sudden he's going to change?
Because he can't read.
I don't see how. I just don't see how.
Listen, Dexter Manley was a great Redskin, and he couldn't read.
Yeah, I agree. But he got some help. My point is he's trying to tell everybody something that everybody sees but him. It's amazing to me that the coaching staff and Scott McGlue, our GM, was enough. He was able to see this, and
is that like a branch of Scotland Yard?
Huh?
Scott McGlue. What? What is your GM's name?
Scott McGlue.
That's a made-up name. That's bullshit.
That's a real name, Scott McGlue.
Get the fuck out of here.
He's our GM. Check it out. Ex-GM from the Seahawks, ex-GM from
He's the general manager. I'm the GM. I'm Scott McGlue.
Yeah. So I'm just telling you, man, I'm expecting some good things this weekend. I just hope our defense can get after Aaron Rodgers, because right now he looks very scared, timid, and lost back there.
Who, Rodgers?
That line speed up, his receivers get separation, and ever since Jordy Nelson got hurt, I don't know who his friend is anymore. That guy, Rodgers?
Olivia Munn. That's his only friend.
Yeah.
And the discount double check guy.
But that's what I think. And you gotta like that.
I like that. I like Olivia Munn. I like that! I would do bad things to her.
Yeah.
You know.
So, like I said, I'm very
that.
impressed with his play, and he's just an unbelievable teammate, and nobody seems to say anything bad about him. And even when they asked him about Robert Griffin, he even praised him and said what a great teammate he was. You think he threw him under the bus? Fuck no, he didn't. He got the memo. Robert Griffin wiped his ass with the memo.
You know why?
No, I don't know why.
Because he can't think.
Well, that's what everybody seems to say. And, I hate to think that way.
He can't think!
I hate to think that way, but I'm telling you, man, it's very disappointing. It's very disappointing, but he brought a lot of this shit on himself.
He did. Fuck him. So, by him going to Dallas, if he went to Dallas,
I hate it.
If he went to Dallas, that would be poetic justice for you. That would be absolutely perfect if he went to Dallas.
Why? You sound like my buddy. He says the same thing. He'd love it.
No, it would be perfect.
Why?
Because Jerry Jones is a fucking moron. He's almost as dumb of a moron as your owner is. And he would bring in Griffin, and Griffin would get killed.
I tell that to everybody.
He would get killed in Dallas. He wouldn't do shit there. So? Yes. You gotta do a fucking thing.
All I'm telling you is we make a lot of dumb mistakes, but all this bullshit with Tony Romo this year. If Jerry Jones would have just not been a cheap old cowboy and pulled out a couple $100 extra million out of his wallet and paid DeMarco Murray, the Dallas Cowboys wouldn't be in the situation they're in right now.
He's not. Listen, DeMarco Murray's not.
Quarterback back there. Fuck, they could have put me back there and just handed the ball to him with that offensive line.
DeMarco Murray
here and there. I mean, Stan Castle stuff. I'm gonna say something right now, just for the record. Anybody who watched that game last week, that quarterback that the Cowboys said Kellen, I need more practice is his name. Kellen, I need more reps. He looks like Bobby Brady from the Brady Bunch running around out there looking for Greg and Peter. But that fucking guy is lost.
But you had to have liked that.
That killed me watching that game. I'm like, I almost feel sorry for this son of a bitch. And I'm like, not really.
No.
Nah,
bullshit.
Not really.
Bullshit.
I said, who the fuck put him out there?
I like that.
Kellen, come on, Jerry. Tell me his real name. Well, it means Kellen, I need more practice. That's right. Kellen, I need more practice. He sucks. That guy sucks so bad. I'm like, wow. He sucks total shit. I mean, total wet shit. I can't even imagine watching the whole season with that fucking clown. Somebody take away his helmet and give him some red shoes and a big fucking afro and a big red nose, because you got Bosa running the ship back there. He sucks.
I like that.
Mexico. I can't even believe they even consider putting him back there. And then there's Sandcastle on the sideline with his arms crossed, looking around. And then there's Tony Romo trying to coach the first half and then realize this guy sucks. He put his menu away in the second quarter. Just put your menu away, Tony. I don't use that left arm. It's a little sore, right? Yeah. According to the Dallas Cowboys fan, if you would have played the whole season and if you would have made it, everything would have been fine. Well, all of you must have been drunk on Thanksgiving, you fucks. Because unfortunately for me, as much as I hate them, I do torture myself and I have to watch the game. I tape that game. Tony Romo played first 3 quarters. This fucking game started off with 2 pick sixes. I don't recall that being Kelvin, I need more practice. I don't recall that being Brandon, get off the Whedon. And I don't recall that being that other fucking Mr. Sandcastle. That was Tony Romo. Tony Romo, your savior.
That's right.
He sucked. Oh, well, he wasn't 100% healthy. Let me ask you something, Ron, next. So, what teams are 100% healthy? If they'd have just been
on the PlayStation,
smart, like I said,
Xbox,
Dallas does some of the stupidest shit I've ever seen. All they needed to do was keep DeMarco Murray. Oh, we're going to keep McFadden back there. And then get that other guy. What was that guy's name? The running back that they had who got caught stealing underwear and cologne? He's going to be your guy? Yeah. Oh, yeah. He got caught up on charge. Get him the fuck out of here, criminal. And no, wait. Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy's going to help.
That was the point I was trying to bring up.
Kill the offensive coordinator, kill the fucking special teams coach. Hell, who doesn't he want to kill? And now Jason Garrett, the Partridge Family look-alike coach, what's he got to say? He says, oh, I'm tired of him being late for practice. But, Jason, are you going to do anything about it? No. Greg Hardy might kill me. He might kill me.
He might body slam you on top of a bathtub full of assault weapons.
Let's just go with killing. I need more practice because we never know. We might have a throwback Brady Bunch episode and have Jerry Jones here on it. Because I swear to Christ, that looked like Bobby Brady in a football helmet.
It did.
That was a joke. That's a fucking joke to me.
All I was missing was name.
Robert Griffin III. Oh, I want to go there if I'm released by the Redskins. Are you fucking kidding me? Do you know what kind of dagger that would put in the Redskins' hearts?
Why? Fucking good riddance.
Says to me, he said he'd love it. He said that would be great.
It would.
That would be phenomenal.
I think it would. I
think it sucks. I think it sucks. But I'm just telling you, man.
Dude, it's just like a bad marriage. It's like a bad marriage. It's like, all right, yeah, I should have married that bitch. All right, whatever.
I have to give credit where credit's due. Kirk Cousins is playing at an elite level right now, and he has been nothing but clutch. And my apologies to you, Captain Kirk, because you are playing, clutch. As the brothers would say, off the chain, motherfucker, off the chain.
And with that, we are going to be off the chain. Jeffrey, please, thank you for your insight. Listen, there are people who hire this motherfucker. Please, someone get this guy a job on television so I can ride his coattails. All right? That's what I need. All right, dude. We'll be back with possibly you, Myron Cope, in the next segment. And my last guest tonight, whenever you watch this, possibly on the toilet for all I fucking know, here on the Stiff Arm with Rod Mexico, is Myron Cope. Myron, this is going to be an interesting phone call because Myron is driving in his car as he's doing this, so you might hear him. It could be a point about this. We'll have to play a game called, is it a point about the Steelers or how about the Bengals suck, or the guy that he is stuck behind in the left lane on the turnpike? Myron, what's happening?
Talking about the Bungals for sure.
All right, first of all, I don't necessarily know if I believe the Steelers will beat the Bengals, but I want the Steelers to beat the Bengals because I'm so sick of the Bengals. I'm fucking tired. I'm just tired of the media just sucking their dick. And just do me a favor. Validate why I should. It's okay for me to feel that way.
Well,
see the NFL come off.
They're consistent on losing. They're consistent that they do good about beating bad teams. They do very good with that. But when it comes to the big games, they fold. They're pathetic, and then they lose. I don't know how the Steelers should beat the Bengals. And I was saying this to some friends. The Steelers tend to play the Cincinnati Bengals very well. Now you can say they lost to the Bengals. Yes, I knew they were going to lose that game. I hate to talk about it on the show before that. I knew they were going to lose that game because Ben was coming out from an injury. Ben coming off an injury is horrific. I've watched him for years. When he comes off a layoff more than 2 games, he comes back way too late. He's never played well.
Doesn't play well.
And the fact that they almost came close to winning that game is miracle. So I knew they were going to lose that game against Cincinnati, and I knew they were going to beat them when they went to Cincinnati. When Pittsburgh tends to play Cincinnati, no matter how bad, they usually play Cincinnati pretty well. They usually do well against Cincinnati. Whereas they play the Ravens well. Even the years that they've beaten the Ravens, they've been slugfests. They've been games that they should have blown out the Ravens. And the vice versa. No matter they didn't play the Ravens, usually play the Ravens very well. So
Best insight.
I don't understand. The Steelers play the Bengals well, and the Bengals play the Ravens well, and the Ravens play the Steelers well. It just kind of doesn't work in that way. I hate positive because I'm positive.
This is
But
tough. This is tough.
don't.
And silence. We have complete silence. So what he's basically saying is that the Bengals, the Steelers match up differently against. And it's been the technical difficulty show here on the Stiff Arm. Philip, or Myron, whatever your name is. I don't know, some name I'll call you. I might call you a lot of names. Son of a bitch might be another one. But listen, it's been a day of technical, a myriad of difficult. So you left off, you were saying, the last we understood was you're saying how the Steelers usually match up horribly against the Ravens, but against the Bengals they do well, and against the Browns they do this. That's kind of where it was, and after that everything got garbled. I think it's because the NFL doesn't want the truth to be let out. So recant us with your truth, whatever.
I was just saying that I feel that the Steelers have always played the Ravens well, the Cincinnati Bengals well. I hate to be positive with a game like this, but I do feel that if they play well, and here's the other thing, what's A.J. McCarron going to do in this game? Is there any possibility that he throws for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions in this game? I think that's completely and utterly impossible. I can't see a scenario in which that happens. Can you see Ben throwing for 420, 4 touchdowns, and maybe 1 interception? Yes, that's something that could possibly happen.
Yeah.
I just think that the Steelers are, if their defense was at all good, if their defense is the biggest fear in this entire game, and for everyone of Steeler Nation, the biggest fear is the Steeler defense. You just have no trust in them whatsoever. None whatsoever. So, if their defense plays it all well, I just don't know how A.J. McCarron does more than 225 yards. I mean, if he does 225 yards, I mean, do they really have a chance? I don't think so. That's just the way I look at it.
I just think they're going to do what they always do, and that's choke. I just picture this being a complete. They're just going to shit the bed. They're going to shit in the. Who that shit in the jungle?
I think A.J. McCarron is going to literally throw for 120 yards and 2 interceptions and 1 touchdown. And if that happens, they lose the game hands down. There's no way they win that game.
Now, what I'm I tell you what I'm not looking forward to is if and when they lose is hearing, oh, Andy Dalton would have been the huge difference in there. Now, what is your...
Yeah, they still would have lost.
Thank you. Because that's another guy, too. It's like enough, man.
Listen, Andy Dalton listen, what's going to happen here pretty soon? Granted, Cincinnati has done well drafting. They have done a good job drafting. But at some point, what's going to happen is they're going to have to start paying these people. And they're not going to hold on to them. They're going to let them go. They've already paid Green. They've already paid Dalton. It's just going to be a matter of time that they just will not pay all these people. They're going to lose a lot of people. I'm amazed they've lasted this long. I got to give them credit. They have lasted for a while. I got to give them credit for that.
But let me ask you this.
I don't see this lasting more than another year.
How do teams like the Rooneys, who are notoriously cheap, how are they able to...
Well, they're not cheap anymore. That was the knock of them years ago. But they have not been cheap. They've paid their players. Now, the only reason that they've had issues. They played their older players, and they just weren't performing very well.
Right.
So the Rooneys are not they are not cheap. They've redone a whole new practice facility. They've updated their practice facilities. That was their old complaint, but they definitely don't have that against them now.
No, because but my question, now that you just blew it out of the water, but I was just curious. I was like, how do teams like? I mean, even in the days when the Steelers were still like, remember when guys like whenever the Steelers had anyone that wanted to get paid, they're like, go ahead and go. But in a crazy way, it paid off for them because guys like Mike Wallace and who else did they have that left and had to test the free?
Well,
Holmes.
Mike Wallace wanted. Listen, the problem with Mike Wallace is he wanted Calvin Johnson money. He wanted to be one of the top 3 wide receivers in the league, and he is not a top 3. Obviously,
yeah.
He's not. And what happened was the wonderful Dolphins told him, "Oh, we'll give you the money. Don't worry, just wait. We'll give you the money." So the Steelers looked at their 2 receivers and they said, "Look, we can get one or the other. We can either get Antonio Brown, or we can get Mike Wallace." Well, what happened? And look at where they're at. That's why a lot. You can argue draft picks. You can argue the secondary. Look at who the Steelers in some key areas have picked up. They signed Antonio Brown instead of Mike Wallace. That's a win. When they were in the draft, they had a choice between getting Le'Veon Bell. Now, granted, he's injured, or getting the guy from Green Bay. What's his name? The big fat guy.
Lacey?
Can't play. Lacey. So they had a choice at that time in the draft. They could have gotten either one. Who would you rather have right now? Now, granted, I know Bell is injured, but who would you rather have? Their talent evaluation has been good. Now, on some guys have they not? Yeah, but that's almost every team in the league. So, listen, if they had a secondary at all, this would be a whole other conversation. They would have won the division, and we'd been on the first round bye.
Right.
But their secondary is so bad that that's the only concern, is that you can make AJ McCarron look good. That's probably the biggest.
So the key for the Steelers to win is they basically, and I know the principle of any football game does score more points than the other, but it's really more so on the offense to basically be the defense too for the Steelers tomorrow.
I think if Ben is good, Ben does what Ben does. Ben scores 28 points. Do you think A.J. McCarron can score 28 points? I think Ben can score 28 points falling out of bed against.
I think A.J. McCarron can score 26 points if he's playing Old Miss. And if he's still at Alabama and playing Old Miss, yeah.
I mean, it's different when you're playing, and he hasn't. Well, I mean, how many points has he scored in the fall? I don't even know how many. I think he scored 21. The most is what he scored. He's going to have to do that plus to beat the Steelers. And I think when you try to get out of your comfort zone, that you're going to have to do things that maybe he's not quite comfortable with. That's when you make mistakes. So, he was playing from behind when they played the Steelers, and look what happened. He threw two interceptions. He didn't play that well, and the Steelers won. So I hate to be optimistic because that's when they usually lose, but if they just show up and play well, I think the Steelers can win. And if they can win this game, I do feel that if
they would go to New England,
comfortable about what they go into with any other teams in the playoffs.
See, so if Pittsburgh wins, Pittsburgh would go to New England, correct?
No, that is incorrect. The only team they go to is Denver, because Denver's the number 1 team. They're the 6th seed.
But
I'm shocked you don't know that.
No, but
to be embarrassed.
But you know what? I didn't realize because Houston is. I forgot because Houston's a division winner. I totally forgot about that.
That is correct.
Yeah. So okay, so then Pittsburgh would go to Denver, and then if Houston wins, they would go to New England.
That is yes.
Now
that is, the whole everything depends on what the Steelers do.
Right.
If the Steelers win, let's put it this way: when the Steelers win, they go to Denver. Then it depends on what those 2 teams do: Houston and Kansas City.
Right. But now, who do you think is going to win that Houston-Kansas City game? I mean, I don't.
I guess you got to go with Kansas City because, but here's another thing: Andy Reid's a choke artist in the playoffs.
See, that's the other thing.
I I'm going to take, just because I think Andy Reid is a choke artist in the playoffs, and he's horrible in the playoffs. I would take Houston, because look at what he did against the Colts that one year. How did they have a 24-point lead?
That was,
and then
yeah,
they lost.
That was a conversation I was just having with the Reverend off air. I was talking about that. That's how I was arguing my cause. I go, I just don't trust him because of that game. I'm like,
I don't trust him. Look at his record in Philadelphia.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
He had 4 games. I think it was 3 or 4 NFC championships at home, and he only won one. He won one against teams that it's not like they were playing the. I mean, okay, yeah, he beat the Tampa Bay, but I mean that was the first time they ever won a game with the temperature was under 30 in that one game.
Right.
I mean, you got to be kidding me. And don't forget, during that time, the NFC East was not that good. So he was beating up on teams that sucked. He was playing Dallas that sucked. He was playing the Giants before Eli Manning, and he was playing the Redskins, and that's a dumpster fire until this year. So he was playing horrible teams every year. No wonder he had a bye and he had a. So I'm not buying Andy Reid. I think he's a choke artist. And I think that they lose that game. That's what I think.
All right, and in the NFC, you got early game is Seattle, Minnesota. I think Seattle does what Seattle does.
No, I'm going to go with Minnesota in this game. When you beat another team that bad, it never ever goes that way again. You never get that game where you beat them up that bad again. That just never. I don't care what game it is. It's so rare that if you play, especially in the divisional, just look at divisional games.
Yeah.
When you've played one team and then you play them again and you blew them out of the water, you never go back and beat them again that easily. It never happens. I actually think Minnesota's going to win. I think that's the game that Minnesota wins. And I'm not big on Seattle this year. I know everyone's like, oh, they're so good. No, their defense isn't that good. Look what the Steelers went to Seattle and lit up on. How many points did they score on their defense in Seattle?
Yeah.
I mean, I do not buy in Seattle. I really don't.
No,
I
feel like the representative of the NFC is going to be Arizona. I think they're going. I think that's going to we're going to see them again in a Super Bowl. It's going to be those Cardinals.
I do. I do like them. I do. I think it actually is going to be Carolina. I think they're going to, just because they're going to have home field advantage. I think, and they played well this year. I don't know about when they get to the Super Bowl, but I do think that I think they go to the Super Bowl. I think Carolina wins it, and I think that I do think.
Who do you think Carolina's going to face?
I hate to say this for Jokel. I think the train ends for the Redskins. I think that.
See, I think
the
they're going to.
Packers are going to win.
I think they're going to beat Green Bay because Green Bay has just looked shitty their past few games. I don't know. I can't figure out what it is. I guess every media show keeps saying, "Oh, it's Jordy Nelson," because there's no Jordy Nelson. I'm like, oh, all right. If that really, he's the whole fucking key to all 22 guys, both sides of the ball. Jordy Nelson. I don't know, man. I just don't. I think the Redskins go. They get another week of you like that hype. And I think they go to the desert, and I think they're going to send them back to the reservation there. It ain't going to happen. They're listen, go back to the casino. Is what they're going to want to tell them.
Oh, we'll see. So if I had to pick, I think I'm picking the Steelers. I think I'm going with Houston. I'm going to take the other two road teams. I'm going to take Minnesota. And sorry, not the road team. I'm going to take Minnesota. And I'm going to take the Packers. That's who I would go.
It's going to be fucking cold at that Minnesota game, man. They said it's going to be like 1, and that hasn't even factored in the wind chill. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, you know what? They played in the Minnesota's used to that. They played that game against Green Bay last week. It's not like you were playing in a tropical field for that game. It was freezing for that game too. So and they played those cold games before. I don't know. I think on some level, some of that cold really, once they start playing, I've watched enough of these cold games. I think people make too much of it. I think the guys go out and play, and the teams, like even when they played that Green Bay game, when it was Green Bay and Coughlin's face got
the Giants for the title game. Yeah.
I didn't notice that there was one team's advantage or disadvantage in that game. I just think Giants
No.
were a hot team.
No,
They went in and they won, and they didn't care about the cold.
No, my entire point about the cold thing is fuck. No, just fuck that shit in general. Fuck the cold. Fuck that. This is why.
Yeah.
This is why my ass is here. This is It's like, what's the temperature of the game? 65. Oh, we ain't going. It's too fucking cold. Fuck that shit, man.
I know you get bitchy when it gets under 55. I know,
Dude. I don't like that shit. I'm fucking old. I'm gonna be Riggins at the end of the month. Fuck that shit. All right, Myron. Thank you for your wonderful insight on why we should all say fuck the Bengals.
No, fuck the Bengals, God. It's just like, if they can just beat the Bungals, then I'm okay. I can live with a loss to Denver or even the Minnesota, any of the other teams. I cannot handle a loss to the Bungals. They just got to beat them. But it just gets the best. AJ, if you lose, this would be worse. This would be just as bad as when they lost to Tebow. When they lost to Tebow in that game,
Yeah,
that was horrific. That was miserable. But to lose to AJ McCarron and Tebow, then you got to start questioning the Steelers. I'll be honest with you. You lose this game. Now, granted, it's on the road. You didn't beat the Ravens last year. You went into Denver and you lost to Tebow, and you're not winning the division. You're losing to a Cincinnati team that, okay, they're good, but they're not great. I mean, I don't think you make any coaches changes, but you got to start putting some feet to the fire on Tomlin's staff. I mean, you can't just keep. You can't have Ben Roethlisberger. You have Ben for another 4 years. You got 4 years where he's probably going to be pretty good. You got to do something in these 4 years. And yeah, you made the playoffs, and yeah, you got lucky, and well, that's fine. They did have Ben out for 4 or 5 games, and they held the ship, which you got to give him credit for that. But in this playoff team, he's got to at least. Tomlin's got to win one. He's got to beat Cincinnati. I'm
Right.
sorry, he's got to beat Cincinnati with AJ McCarron as the quarterback. There's no excuse.
And before I let you go, how was your Xmas? How much wine did you have over Xmas?
Oh, I drink a lot. A lot of wine. Too much. That's the only thing I do. That's the only thing I can handle. I'm such a pussy. I don't even want to get into the pussy nature of my life that I can't drink anything other than wine, and that's it.
I did learn from my father. This was an interesting Christmas for us. There was no violence or bloodshed. It wasn't like Thanksgiving.
Bummer.
Yeah, no, but this was the payoff. We're sitting there opening presents, and I hear my father, and he's talking to my sister's mother-in-law, and he's saying about how Bing Crosby had no talent. He had no talent. But for the most part, you know what? The Irish don't have any talent. You know what? And he starts going on about the Irish, and he starts going, there are 3 things you can tell about the Irish. 3 things. I go, so what are the 3 things? Big forehead, green teeth, and they all stink of piss. So that's what I learned from this Christmas, was that all Irish people
He didn't mention their small dick? He didn't mention that?
Well,
That wasn't one of them?
No, but I didn't think that one, but thank you for bringing it up. So that's 5 things now, because mine was, what about drunk? But I guess that's just...
drunk, and they got small dicks. That was the classic one.
But I guess if you just say Irish, it's just, yeah, of course they're drunk. They're Irish. What the fuck do you think? Yeah, it's like all rednecks watch NASCAR.
It's like the sun's going to come out in the morning. Okay, yeah, I agree with that.
And the Dolphins are going to blow their draft pick. That is a guarantee. Let the shit show.
It's so difficult. So that's.
Let the shit show continue. All right, my man. Thank you once again for your time. Let me let you go.
Peace out, brother.
Good luck, my man. And this is Ron Mexico saying, if you're driving, don't drink. And if you didn't, well, don't drive.